Wow, I love that Florida shirt, bro.
No, it's not a Florida shirt. So this
Oh,
is
that's a Florida shirt.
no, this is I was just telling Brandon, this is my bull market shirt. I don't wear this in bull markets. Make of it what you will.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Flow Show. It's your boy Chicago Sean McLaughlin. I'm the Chief Option Strategist at All Star Charts, joined by our Head of Technical Research, Steve Strazza. What's up, Steve?
How's it going?
Oh, hey, we're a little bit under the gun here. I want to get this done quickly because I got a TV delivery people right outside my window who are delivering a TV to my house. So let's get down to business. But first up, before we get into the options flow, you and I were talking this morning about some trades, some trade ideas, and the trade that you liked the most was actually a bearish bet on Freeport McMoRan FCX, right?
Yep.
And I was giving you some pushback. I was like, yeah, I mean, look, the chart looks good, but man, how many times have we just been rolled over on every bearish trade we've put on the last several weeks?
Yeah. Listen, I was struggling internally with that one this morning. That's why I was pinging you about it. I was pinging JC about it. It looks clean. Really, it's the bet there is that materials roll over at these pivot lows, right? Because they completed the top. We saw a leg down. That was like a retest from underneath of that top. FCX would be a vehicle for that. The biggest problem I'm having right now is, do I really want to short, like put shorts on right now after the action we've seen past few weeks and months? Like I would say, I came in yesterday morning feeling rather bulled up. You know, we got breath thrusts. We have the percentage of stocks above the 200-day. You know,
it explains that shirt you're wearing. It's your bull market shirt.
Bull market shirt. But it feels like, listen, the animal spirits are out. AMC and GameStop were halted on circuit breakers yesterday morning. You know, do you really want to come in and start buying puts in this market? I did add a little FCX here, September monthly 25s. But, you know, I can't tell you I feel super strongly about it.
I mean, look, I'm looking at that setup. I'm seeing that the stock is sitting just below its 50-day moving average. It's been in a bearish regime for the last 4 months, and the broader market might be overextended here. So yeah, it would seem that all the stars are aligning for a good bearish bet here. But man, how many times have we said that before and they just don't work out? That's my hesitation on the trade.
Yeah, I'm going to pull it up real quick so we can see what we're talking about here. So, Brandon, bear with me. I'm going to bring in a new window here.
Yeah, there it is.
Hopefully this works. Yeah, so I mean, this is exactly what we're talking about, right? Like these stocks look great just a few months ago, these materials names. This was in March and April, came down hard to the lower bounds, right? Broke below it here, this 2930 level. Zoom in a bit. Now we're just retesting it from above. So that's the bet I'm making, that this fails here. If you looked at XLB or materials, they look very similar. So that's all that is.
All right. Well, all right. You took a little small position there. Good for you. You got bigger balls than me. I'm going to sit this one out, at least for now. But let's talk about what's showing up on the unusual options activity scan. Anything popping out here?
I mean, the first thing I think we have to talk about, I like to start with the indexes. We had some bearish flow. First of all, the semiconductor bull 3X shares. I don't mess with levered ETFs or inverse ETFs, so that one's not for me. But
Nope.
L was one. Other one was emerging markets. Something I also kind of want to stay away from right now. What really stands out is bearish flow in ARC. So we had puts on the offer. Yep, September monthlies. They were hitting the 48 strike. We're trading right around 48 right now, so pretty much at the money. Slightly out of the money.
That's another instrument you and I were talking about this morning. You were saying, or I had mentioned that maybe in this environment right now, it would be a good time to buy some at the money straddles in some high beta instruments or high beta names, because with volatility coming in, maybe it's a good opportunity because we don't really know which way the next move is, but maybe we could benefit from a big trade like that. But I'm pulling up the ARC on my screen here, Brandon, and unfortunately, the vol is still pretty expensive in ARC. I mean, it's obviously off the highs from back in May, but still well above average for the year.
Right. And I thought a little bit more about that too. Like with something like ARC, after the move it's made, right? So if you look at the chart I have here, these are some of the best patterns, some of the best tactical setups we have right now look just like this.
Yep.
You're going to see in a bunch of different indexes, a bunch of different growth names. They bottomed in May. They based for 2-3 months. Now they're making, 2-3 month highs. and they look good. And we have these clearly defined levels at the pivot highs to trade against. Something like ARC, I'm not really anticipating a huge move back into this box or back into this range. That would undo a lot of the bullish stuff, the bullish developments we've seen over the past few weeks. I think, higher likelihood is to come back, maybe test the upper bounds, this breakout level around 47. And that's really, I think, what we should be watching this week. Markets had a nice run, nice little bear market rally. Okay, let's see how this corrective action, let's see the nature of this corrective action. Is it mostly sideways and tight? Is it lower? Do we undo a lot of the progress that was just made? So that's kind of what I'm watching. I don't know if we're going to get a big move. Maybe we just cool off for a little bit and then these things keep building.
Nothing wrong with cooling off, right? I mean, we've had a very busy year up to this point, right? We've had a pretty dramatic sell-off basically from January 1st all the way down. And then we've had, what do we have? Like 50% of NASDAQ stocks are 30% off their lows or some stat like that. I mean,
the average NASDAQ component is almost 40% off its lows.
That's incredible. So yeah, maybe the market has earned the right to just chill out for a little bit. It's August after all, right? We're coming into the tail end of summer. Vacations are winding down. Why not just chill out for a little bit?
That's a great point too. This is whipsaw season, right? A lot of moves tend to fail. A lot of kind of shakeouts and false starts, and maybe this is just one of them.
Right.
And two, if you think about it, Sean, these stocks have been under pressure since early last year when we talk about these high growth names. 3 months of basing is nice, but give me 6 months of basing,
All right.
Give me a nice little launch pad before we really take off. So I think, this is definitely progress, step in the right direction for these stocks. But I think you want to kind of taper your expectations because typically we go from down to sideways to up. This would be a very short sideways period.
Right. Well, the more I think about it, and I'm thinking about this in real time right now, Strazza, but the more I think about it is that as we're getting into this lull right now where volatility seems to be coming down, if volatility just kind of hangs where it is or goes lower, and if the indices just kind of muck sideways for the next couple of weeks, this might be a great time to start looking for stocks that you think could have a big move in either direction and start looking for straddles or strangles or any kind of like delta neutral but long volatility plays. They could set us up for some nice payouts coming into the silly season, as we like to call it. When we get into September, October, November, that's when we tend to have a lot of wild market moves. I'm not saying it's going to happen this year, but it typically often does.
I think it's a good point. Yeah, I think sideways after the action, like you said, big down the first 6 months of the year, big up the last 2 months. Yeah, maybe some sideways, just kind of wear some people out.
So do we have any individual names that you want to think about putting a trade on, or are we going to leave people with that thought right there that, hey, let's start looking for some straddles for some, plays into October, November, December?
I have two that kind of fit the bill that we could look at. Two ARChy names. GoDaddy I had to include here because GoDaddy, this is the domain name company.
Do they still make those sexy commercials?
Dude, those were funny.
Remember that? They used to have like scantily clad women hawking websites.
Yeah. No, but listen, nice base for a tech stock. So that stood out. But these two are very ARChy, similar to the ARC chart that we just discussed. This would be Pinterest. We've been all over this name. We like it a lot. We've been talking about it in Inside Scoop. Activist is in the name. Oh, gosh, it's escaping me right now. Elliott Management. Yep, Elliott Management is in the name. I think they own about 9% of the stock now, largest shareholder. And the CEO or CFO, I think it was the CEO, right after the lockup period, the blackout period for Q2 earnings just ended last week, came out and bought about $5 million of stock. So we got two insiders in it just in the past few weeks. Now we're seeing bullish call flow. So a lot of interest here. And look, this is a bearish continuation pattern that we're highlighting here with the blue trend lines. And it failed and resolved higher. So it was not a continuation pattern. It was actually a reversal pattern. I think we have some clean levels that we could trade against here, either against 20 or 26, kind of in no man's land right now. But if we trade it back to those 2019 highs around 36, 37, there's a nice risk reward there.
Yeah. I don't hate it. I'm looking at a more granular chart here on my screen. Brandon, if you want to zoom in on that.
Vol really came in.
Yeah, vol came in. Well, we had earnings right here, right? On Looks like August 1st. So no surprise, earnings dropped off. But what I find very interesting is post earnings. Look at that tight consolidation for 6 days, 5 days there.
Almost looks like the stock got acquired last week.
That was my initial thought. Like, whoa, do they have a buyout offer at $24?
So interesting, right? I was thinking the same thing.
That is very interesting. And that September buyer of 2250 calls, I mean, they're right there at the money. So interesting. This is definitely something to keep an eye on. And hey, if this vol keeps coming down, this might be one of those good candidates for one of those straddle plays we were just talking about.
Yes.
Maybe. Let's keep this on the radar. I like this.
We will. Also notice before I move on, notice the momentum profile down here, like in this name. Okay. The best setups right now, the best little tactical reversal patterns that you could be buying, these stocks have not been oversold for many, many months. Some of them all year, right? So if you look at, looks like Pinterest here, the last time this stock was oversold, despite, crashing to new lows for most of this year, it has not been oversold for, my eyes are right, like February. So, that really stands out. We want the names that have not been oversold to have these really long-standing momentum divergences, because now these divergences are being confirmed. Zscaler, something similar. Even put in a nice little momentum divergence here. We have, again, it's what looks like a continuation pattern.
So many of those patterns. Wow.
That's it, right? So if these are resolving higher with Zscaler, you need to be a little careful because it made a little, it made a jerk move, poked its head higher above the breakout level, and then moved lower, I think, on earnings the past few days. So this is a buy on strength only, but these are the types of setups that we like, right? Buying these base breakouts only if they're above those pivot highs. In this case, it'd be about 170, 175.
Actually, earnings for Zscaler is not scheduled until September 8th, so a month out.
Oh, I thought they had it on Friday. So it just poked its head above and kind of failed. So that one might need a little bit more time. And you said earnings in about a month?
Yep, September 8th is on the calendar right now.
I like it in this kind of environment when the earnings can get behind these stocks. And then you put like a trade on. Like I was looking at Vertex today, had earnings last week, got it out of the way. It's been reacting really nice. It's been up 3 straight days, pushing to new all-time highs. Let the earnings get out of the way in this tape because you're seeing big reactions in both directions.
All right.
About that.
Well, just busted JC. He's clearly not watching our live stream because he's trying to call me on my phone right now. So JC, busted. You should be watching.
And well, I'm extra upset because he promised me he would watch because I told him I had a surprise. I wanted him to see my bull market shirt live.
Well, I'll make sure he watches the archived version of this. All right. Well, today's Flow Show, we've established a couple things. We got Pinterest on our radar, Zscaler perhaps, although we've got earnings, so that's something to be watchful of. And maybe the trade over the next couple of weeks is to look for stocks where volatility has come in, stocks that are consolidating, high beta names that might offer opportunities for us to buy some straddles to participate in a next leg higher or a complete reversal of all the good action we've had over the last few weeks and the markets go and retest the lows. We might be setting up for some good chances to put those trades on over the next couple of weeks. So let's keep our eyes out for those, huh?
I think it's a great point. I think it's time to kind of be patient and remember that when markets are at a turning point, the action tends to be very messy, right? So
there you go.
That allow for that. And also, before we head off, what do you think of sentiment right now? I tweeted something yesterday, just implying that maybe the bottom was in. I have never caught more hate for an objective, simple tweet. It seems like people really don't like the idea that maybe the bottom is in.
It feels like people are invested in the idea that this is a bear market that's going to last for a while. And, when everyone's on one side of the boat, it doesn't always work out that way. I mean, all you got to do is listen to any number of Twitter spaces that are market focused these days. And there seems to be a lot of anxiety everywhere. So I think people are quite a bit nervous. I think they might be a bit overly nervous. That's just my feel. I could be wrong, but that's the vibe I get.
I think you nailed it, right? Like humans are funny. It takes a while for the average investor and market participant to come around to accepting the fact that we are indeed in a bear market. That probably just happened for most people past few months, maybe quarter or two, one quarter, right? Couple months, right? And now all of a sudden somebody's going to come tell them, oh, the bear market's over. They just got their bear market shirt on. They're not ready to put their bull market shirt on.
Yeah, they don't have Strazza's closet. I mean, he had the bull market shirt right there in the front. He had to put it on today, and he's a contrarian, I guess.
I mean, I'm kidding, half jest, but yeah, but seriously, there is something out there from a sentiment perspective that I think is worth mentioning right now.
All right, folks, that's all we got for you today. I got to go check in on these delivery guys who are bringing the TV into my house as we speak. So I got to go. Peace out, everybody. Strazza, thanks for hanging out. We'll see you next time.